Yeah, so this is my main studio. Yeah, this is where I'm doing most of my work. And I have a work spot upstairs as well, and which I can work in the summer, but not so much in the winter because it's cold. But I do most of everything here. I've been painting recently, and so I can show you some of the stuff I've been working on and a little bit of my process, if that's something you want to.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Art, do you want to say your full name and what town we're in?
Oh yes, my name is Arthur Schaller, and we're actually in Northfield, right on the Roxbury edge, in that sense. So it's a mile and a half to Roxbury Village, 5 miles to Warren Village or so, and 5 miles to Northfield. So kind of in between.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Yeah.
They're coffee cups. They're flying bananas. There are steamships. There are wolves, lightning bolts, mouse traps, some birds, and fishing lures. But fishing lures are, and many of these are, you can see them as what they are, or they can have another meaning. Like I call the fishing lures drones. And so all these small ones with the fishing lures, that's from a series called Drones Over Coffee. And so there's also a notion that there's a middle ground, and above and a below. So, and I don't just start and have a go. I have an idea. And so in my mind, it's a process that it's not divine inspiration and then you go, it's a continuous process or an evolution. So in many cases I sketch them. So I'll show you maybe a sketch that will link to this last painting here, if that. So there's some drawings of it, and then it gets transferred. These are drawn proportionally. I've been working on a constant proportion. Like these are 30 by 40 inches. These are 16 by 20. They're also a module of that. And the collage are always framed 16 by 20. Not always, but mostly 16 by 20.
And why is the measurement or the proportion?
Because there's an order that's, maybe perhaps that's architectural training. I'm not sure, but there's certain things that are given, and then you don't have to worry about it, and you then explore within that. So anyway, so this painting, which you just saw this sketch of, I'm just about finished. It's called Ophelia and the Big Man Vase. So in Hamlet, everyone dies, but and so Ophelia drowns, obviously, and many historical paintings of her, she's in the water, surrounded by flowers. And so I'm not interested in painting people. I have done that in collage, but and so the vase is also a feminine image, and the floral cloth, which repeats in a lot of them, is nature or the ground plane or whatever you might call that. And so the big man, he's orange, so maybe there's some linkage there. And he's prickly and mechanical, and he's hollow. He's not a true vase. He's a facade, and so he's bolted to that. And the tulips are slightly underwater and so on. And the three cups, I don't know, they're also tumbling in that sense. And so there's that painting.
Would you say the orange big man you said is Is that what he?
Yeah, I mean,
Is
it has
sort of
reference.
masculine or masculinized sort of
Yeah.
image in relation to the vase?
Yes, exactly, and it's got kind of some sinister qualities to it, in that sense, and it's cabled in somehow. So it's not a natural form; it's a
Right.
mechanical form.
And where do these images come from? That are all part of. You said it's all part of the motif, or they're individual motifs.
Right. They let's see. I can.
Like, what draws you to the teacup or the vase
Yeah.
versus, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
any other object?
Well,
in
the
the world?
teacup is there's a lot of things. It's about hospitality, you know, and it's all about it's a receiver form. So it's and in many cases they exude energy, or some of the vases do.
Interesting.
And so they are a form of perfection, maybe, or domesticity. I'm not sure.
The symbolism is really
Yeah.
important to you.
Right. Yeah. And like this painting with the ships coming in is called Tea Party at the Bermuda Triangle. And so there's a stability about it, and the ships are flying, and there's some other forces at hand, like the mousetraps and the like.
What about the stripes on the sticks, the striped
Oh,
sticks?
yeah.
I noticed those inside in your window frame.
Yeah, that's in the edges of them. It's the painted stick. If you do the tarot cards, there's always the wand, and as one of the suits, and they're markers of directions, or to me they seem like a magical kind of painting on it. And in some cases they carry colors significant to the directions or the elements or something. And in some cases they're just there.
Yeah.
and they're, let me show you this one. Can I pull another one?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
How often do you pull tarot cards?
Oh, not for years.
It's a great activity for someone who loves symbolism.
Right. And so this one is finished. The one on easel is not quite. And you can see the same motifs are there, right? The vases, and this one's called Surrounded, and maybe it is a nod to all the perpetual wars going on the planet. And so now the cups are and bananas and things on the ground plane are buried in a or half in a kind of an ashen
I see.
ground plane. And so this one, the perspective, we're looking down, and now the drones are flying overhead. They're the furthest out, and we're looking down on it. And so, but they're the same. You can see some of them, obviously the same.
Definitely, yeah.
Same ideas.
This one has a little more chaos to it.
Yes.
Than some of the others, yeah.
Right, and the in this case the sticks are forming a fence or a boundary.
Right.
In that sense. So.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that stripe work in this one.
And these two I'm just working on right now. This one's Sleeping Giant, and then these vases are Ophelia and her friend swimming. I don't know.
Are you using acrylic?
I'm using acrylic for because it dries quickly, and I'm painting on board, on wooden panels.
Oh, these are not canvases?
No, they're wooden panels.
Ah, okay.
Which I like the smoothness of it, and sometimes it soaks the paint in a little bit, and you don't get that roughness of the canvas in that sense.
Do you want to show us what's on your table? Some of your
Yeah, I can.
some of your glue sticks and paints.
Yeah, so this is I never clean this up. So if people come over, it's fine. We can, you know. So yeah, I've just got my paints in here. These are from fast food, Indian food. And then I cut things out and go back and forth with that. And then can just nip to the kitchen and clean my brushes. And so I don't have like a schedule where I would, you know, from 9 to 10 I'm going to paint. I do work a lot at night because I think that was like you know, teaching and having family obligations and so on. My time became night, and so and I started collage when you know, when the two kids were. We had to take them all kinds of places. So I ended up having 4 studio workspaces, which I could carry the work with me in the collage. So I could show you some of the collage.
Please.
And so when I first started painting, I said in maybe 2018, I painted for a while. And then had a large exhibition with the paintings, like maybe 18 paintings, and I think 40 collages. And so at that point, I completed the collage series, which was about color, and I had so it's a little different. I think you might see a similarity. So these are, in the collage, I work in a series. So I can show you these if these show up. In the series, in this case, I'll show you the series variations on the color blue. And so I just got a new stash of, well, you can see I cut stuff out, not mainly for their surface, and then I'll go through and get a lot of.
Oh, you're using magazines, like glossy
it's all magazines. In this, there's no drawing or digital manipulation. It's all just glue stick.
Cut and paste.
Cut and paste. Yeah.
What kind of magazines are you pulling?
Well, I have a friend that gives me the World of Interiors.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Which it's nice because it's glossy and high quality. I had used fashion magazines before. My wife used to get Vogue, and there was good surfaces in that. But if I touched it before she finished, it's bad. so anyway, so these are variations on. You can see they're the same size, and on the color blue. And I haven't exhibited these yet.
And how long will you work on one of these in general?
Sometimes it varies. They seem to come out in a roll. You know, like I'll finish because I've got all the surfaces laid out. I may be working on one, but I know that's going to be a catalyst for the next one. And then I sort of arbitrarily, said, okay, I'm going to do 10 of each of these. Most of the series are from either 10 to 20. And I think I have 20 different series, so there's like 400 collages.
Wow. And are they is each series centered around a particular color?
No, just
just this one's blue.
This I did the color ones. I did was looking at alchemy and the Negredo, Albedo, and Rubedo, that kind of going from black to white to red and explosion. So I did those, and then I did green, and then I did pink, some of them which were exhibited in Waitsfield. Then I did yellow and blue, and so I think I'm done with the colors. Right. I'm liking this one. And then they just kind of burn themselves out, you know, or I burn myself out.
Like you get tired of
Yeah.
collaging?
Right.
Do you go back to painting at that point?
I do go back and forth, or a new idea may come into play.
But you set a number for the series. It sounds like you don't just go until...
Well, I set a rough number. This one, since there are 10 in each of the colors, that seemed to be in order. So I think that, what's that? Yeah, there's like 70. Others. I can show you some in the other room as well. This one was from a residency in New Harmony, Indiana, where the tables kind of represent.
Definitely looks like architectural drawing.
Right.
Influenced.
Yeah. All the tables were in that vein.
And you made the frame on the top piece.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, that was from. Well, I had a large exhibition called Ships and Shadows in the Supreme Court in Montpelier, and so and then I was working with this trickster kind of deity.
Is that the central piece?
Right, the figure above. So there are 4 of these. There's a red one, a yellow one, a white one, and a black one. So they're also referencing the 4 directions.
Is this your piece too?
No, this is my late wife's.
She was a painter.
She was a painter, and probably that's why I didn't paint. You know, I would guess. And after she died, I did start painting again.
So she was really drawn to color too.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I was doing a lot of things that were fairly neutral when we were first together, and then I discovered color through her, which was great.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see these are more of the paintings. This is another one of that's the black trickster at the ships.
Oh yeah. And what was your wife's name?
Anne.
Anne Schaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She taught studio art courses for 9 years at Norwich.
Oh wow.
And then in Indiana, where we were before. This was the last painting of before I took the break and did collage. So this was, nighttime and underground. And you can just see all the same motifs.
It's like you descended before you stopped. Yeah, this one's more dark.
It's
less
more
color.
dark, yeah.
And that was 2017, you said?
Yeah, this was probably, maybe 2022, I think that was. And then I went to work on all those collages. And maybe we could pop into this last room.
Did you make this?
Yes,
well?
This is
see
right. It's a secret cabinet with my discs.
How often do you work with wood?
Quite a bit. I like painted wood as well. I don't have much of a shop. That's a problem.
Right.
When I was at the university, I could use the shop there all the time, but now it's not as easy.
Right. Your environment dictates your mediums. Yeah.
And so I'll show you this one. So at some point, I transferred the collage into 3-dimensional stuff. So this was a collage, and now I made it And yeah, they're moving parts and things move around.
It's like it almost has like a dollhouse
Yeah.
feel, but like a bizarre dollhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is architectural in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now, I've got some stuff set upstairs. I'm starting another set of small ones.
Mm-hmm. And then these are more of Anne's paintings.
Yeah.
Here. This one's
That's
really striking.
right. That's and these two big ones are Anne's. It's sort of like a shrine to her. This room.
Oh. The big one's very interesting. Well, this one as well. Hmm.
I think she painted this right before we moved to Vermont.
Mm. You both have like really surreal qualities to the paintings.
And these are some of the bigger collages of the ships.
Oh, I see.
And the bottom one's it's part of the billboard buildings.
Those are magazine clippings?
Yeah,
as
it's
well?
all.
From
some of
afar, they look like digital
Yeah.
images, right?
Yeah, they're not.
Mm-hmm. And with your architectural work, the things that you designed, the structures that you designed, have some of these qualities that are found in your collages and paintings? Like, are there parallels there?
There are parallels there. There was always this notion that I would make the collage, transfer it to 3 dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
and then blow it up to architectural scale.
Mm.
That hasn't all happened.
Right. Has it ever happened?
Yeah, and small stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I really didn't do much practice after we moved to Vermont, I sort of focused on my art rather than. I did a few things, but not much.
But you taught architecture.
Yes.
You just weren't so much in practice.
I wasn't in practice.
I see.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that would be a very interesting building.
Yeah. And then sometimes I did 3D stuff like this.
Ah, okay. Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what else?
What do you think? So you said you have another studio space.
Yeah,
right?
we could go upstairs if you're
If
sure.
you're open to it.
Yeah, I can show you that
Okay.
space. That's where I'm laying out some of the 3D stuff.
Okay, that'd be
Okay.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I changed the stair. This was the old stair.
Oh wow.
You would hit your kneecaps on. There is stuff everywhere.
Yeah. How many paintings do you think you've done?
I don't know. I've been starting to inventory it. Quite a bit when we stack up. Some of these are hands. Yeah, this is my upstairs workspace.
Oh, this is the 3D.
Yeah, I'm starting
kind of
to.
stuff.
Right, and here's an architectural model that you can see a translation from.
Mm-hmm. When did you make that?
I don't know, 2005 maybe. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a piece in the was exhibited in the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. It's part of totemic cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
What is this project?
well, it's like, I'm not sure yet. It's these are going to be architectonic. Like, see these little models?
Oh yeah.
See, these are all, there's an original collage that's big on each one of those.
These are your collages that you've printed.
Yeah, that I printed and then turned them into these slight relief.
They're like stilted.
Yeah, so
little
these were all
structures.
called billboard buildings, so they were all up on legs.
Mm-hmm.
And there were 20 of those, so there are 20 little models. And the colors are sort of reminiscent of the collage, original collage. And so that's what I'm kind of working on here. So these will be probably hinged together and be boxes, you know, probably up on legs of some sort, with some moving parts. And actually, I got started back into doing these when the fundraiser at the Mad River Valley Arts with the 100 pieces and the auction. So I did a 3D piece for that.
Okay.
They gave you a 10 by 10 board.
Oh, that's how you got. That
So,
was the catalyst.
yeah.
Right?
To start doing these again.
And these are the magazines that you're
Yeah.
from.
I would just pull out one and see if I find a surface that I might give you some kind of, well, that blue color I would be. But see, this there's something about that I would take. And just winnow it down. Maybe something there. Oh, definitely I would use some of that. Not that, but maybe that.
Yeah, that's a great magazine.
And so,
There's a lot to look at.
So I've got, you can see the Ziploc bags I've got. Things that I've stashed.
Is that a ship near your pond?
It is.
Did you made that?
I did. When you sit on the porch and I trim the weeds, it appears to be floating.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so anyway, so I will, you know, I just got these the other day. From Jim Sanford, you know Jim Sanford?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he saves them for me.
Oh,
So
wow.
he's got a few of my pieces too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what a beautiful view.
Yeah, this is
So
nice.
how do you choose to work up here versus downstairs?
When I don't paint up here, well, except when I'm doing the wooden stuff, but that's a different. And I shift back and forth. During COVID, the table at the entry, when you know the big long table, I turned that whole room into a shop because no one was coming over, and then I could do a lot of wooden stuff there and building. So I like it up. It can get too hot. It has to be just environmentally right, and it can get cool in the winter.
Right.
Yeah, I go back and forth. I'm just ready to start some new collage, and you know I have the boards and so on. And I have this, and I will probably go through a process after the 4th of July, or so, and pull out some surfaces, and I think that will suggest what my next series would be.
Mm-hmm. So what would be a typical day for you lately?
Oh, well, I have some routines. I have coffee on the porch year-round, no matter how cold it is or hot. Then I don't really swim once a day now. And I usually play my saxophone at night about 11 before I go to bed. Outside, because there's an echo. So it's an instrument of prayer. I'm not. So those are kind of points in the day. And then I like to cook, and I'm working on my garden and doing the firewood and all of that stuff. So I don't know if there's a typical day.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to do a little art every day. And there are times when it will sort of start to take over. You know, when it's always good for me. It's always good to maybe stop working on something when you know what you're going to do next. So it's easier to step back into it. And you're also a little bit anxious to step back into it.
Right.
So yeah.
How long have you been playing saxophone?
My wife gave me a beater yard sale alto when I turned 40.
Oh, and you didn't you
No.
played other instruments?
No.
So you learned from scratch.
And I don't sight read, so. And so I played that for a while, and the family was tolerant. We had a great studio that was very concrete, and I could take it into that studio and it would just sound great.
Where was that studio?
That was in Indiana.
Okay.
And we had a little farm there, too.
So you were born in Chicago. What's the trajectory? How do you get from Chicago to here?
Oh, okay, yeah. So I went to the University of Cincinnati, College of Design, Architecture, and Art. And it's a cooperative program, so you went year-round, and it was a quarter. It was divided into quarters, and then you worked. And so I worked in San Francisco and Chicago and Washington and Louisville and East Chicago. So anyway, so when I was finishing my thesis, and Anne and I were married then, she studied graphic design at the same college, and I was about to be drafted. But I presented my architectural thesis in a gallery, and Ball State it's still the only state architecture school in Indiana, sent some it was just a new program, no one had graduated yet, sent some of the faculty down to be jurors or reviewers, and they saw my work and asked me if I would come to teach. And the dean also recommended me. And it turns out my draft board was in Indiana, in Hammond, like right next to Chicago. And I received an occupational deferment.
For Vietnam.
Because, I wasn't going. I knew that, and we didn't know what. And so that started me on teaching, and I and really loved it.
Wow.
And it was a new school, experimental. We did a lot of things. We both grew up in cities, and so we were going to Muncie, Indiana, which is bigger than Burlington, but it seemed to me like just the end of the world,
Yeah, Indiana's has that quality for sure.
And so we said, okay, if we're going here, we might as well live on a farm or something. So we did, and so this is a long story. So
yeah, no, it's great.
Okay, so then after I was no longer eligible, we did move to Vermont for a short time, And then I was I missed teaching. And I had taken a job in Louisville, and halfway between Vermont and Louisville, we stopped in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, where Edinburgh, it's a university now, it was a college, and the head of the art department was Ann's boss at Ball State. He had gone there. So we were staying, and we were reluctant to go back and get into more corporate architecture and graphic design. And so we were staying, and I helped this guy, the friend, move a piece of furniture, and I got an architectural job. And so we said, we're not going, and we moved from Vermont then to Pennsylvania for a while. And I also got a job for with an engineer who had developed this thing he called a collapsible building, which was like a big folding chair. He was a structural engineer, and it would come on a truck and be pinned in the center and lifted up, and the floor would come out and the roof would come up. And he was thinking this would be really solving a lot of. But he needed an architect to figure out what to do with it.
That makes sense that it was you.
Yeah,
it was you? Because of the kind of like opening, all the hinge work on your models.
It was fun. But then we lived on a little lake. It was great. I had a small practice. I did a couple other houses and so on. And then my friend, who I had taught with before, was at Texas at Austin, and they were changing deans, and he said, the new dean's going to call you. So I went back into teaching, and we moved to Texas. And then it was unbelievably hot. Then I did go back to Ball State, and then started coming to Yestemero.
In 1990, 93, you said?
90.
1990.
Or 89 or 90.
Okay.
And so, and slowly then we're spending, a little more of the summer, a little more in the full summer. And then Ball State had I was still teaching then the regular academic year. They had a visitor position, and so Yestemero as an entity became the visitor. This went on for 3 years, and so maybe 5 or 6 people would be that position, and they would come. There would be 2 of them there. They were in 2 week, and they would overlap, so they were teaching a studio, and then I got to meet many of those. I had met many of them in the summer, many of those folks, and then they were also coming to Indiana, and so it made and then as I said before, Norwich started an architectural program, and I got a visitor position and resigned my position there. And
what year was that?
That was 97.
97.
And we decided I'd cut my salary in half and wanted to be in Vermont. So.
Oh wow. What was the class you taught at Yestemero when you first?
I taught home design build, and I taught with Mac Rude for a while. Do you know Mac Rude?
Yeah.
He and I taught for years, and then we did go to South Dakota to work on a Lakota project on Pine Ridge a couple times. And I also taught rustic furniture, which you can see these tables around and so on. So I taught that, and then I became the dean at Norwich Architecture, and it was too much to do the 2 week class anymore, so I've stopped doing that.
What made you willing to cut your salary in half to move here?
The community, the environment,
Being able to play your saxophone in the middle of nowhere and hide little ships.
Right, and so I've been part of the Perickley community for years, working on the float now. So.
I'll see it on the floor.
Yeah.
Excited.
Be a good one.
Yeah, it always is.
So so that when it was good to do this.
Yeah.
So I went through the whole academic process again. The tenure again and all that business.
Yeah. So you fell into teaching.
Right. But when I
stayed
left Indiana, I was there long enough, so I'm actually a professor emeritus from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm a professor emeritus from from Norwich as well, so gets me a free library card.
That's a good
and
free thing
an
to get.
email and a computer from here.
Right. Let's check. Let me check the time. So it's 11:30. Can we sit down somewhere for like 10-15 minutes?
Oh yeah, sure.
I have a few lingering questions.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's not where you're at right now. That seems fun too.
Yeah, let's see what's in. Oh, here's another one of these 3D pieces.
The breeze is very nice.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect out.
Yeah, so this is one of the windows.
Oh wow.
Pieces derived from the collage. It's got bits that move the lighting back here. Opens up. This one.
Oh, that's cool.
This one is something too. So these are quite architectonic in that sense.
Did you make these when your kids were younger?
No.
Or did you? Okay,
I did these here. I
wondering
had.
what they thought of.
I always made stuff though with them, and yeah. So, and I made these for an exhibition that was at the Sullivan Museum in Norwich, and.
Is that the art museum there?
Yeah, and this was the first contemporary show they had. So I had all those little models and these bigger ones in that sense. So that got me into making these things.
The exhibition prompted.
Yeah.
They invited you to submit something. Is that how?
Yeah,
it works?
they invited me to have a show, and I was also in the process of trying to translate these in. So, you know, I could dig these out, but the originals. But and now you can see what I had set up in the other room is kind of maybe moving back into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my grandmother's painting.
Your grandmother painted that.
Yeah.
What year do you think? From? Or decade?
Maybe 1950, I don't know.
Wow. Did she paint a lot?
She didn't start painting until she was 40, but then she painted these dune. They had a store in Hammond and then moved to the Indiana Dunes and had little cottages.
Oh, wow.
And I could go out and stay with them. It was great.
Oh, I love the sand dunes.
Yeah, it's a magical place.
It is, yeah.
I do try to go back, and it's now a national seashore.
That's right.
And I can go where her house was, and I can recognize where it was. It's demolished, but yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one place you can go in Chicago that's not too, from Chicago.
Yeah.
It's not too far, but you feel like you're in
Yeah.
a more natural environment.
And the train goes to the South Shore.
That's
goes
where
there,
I used to take the train there, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I could paint. So we can see that. Yeah, this is one like from this too.
Oh, yes.
Is there a date on this?
80, that says 81.
Ooh, yeah, that's a reason.
That does look like the sand dunes.
Yeah, I need to go back there. It's so similar to the Cape, though. But I look like Michigan. This is the bunkhouse for the grandkids. There's some iced tea if you care
Thank
for some.
you.
It's herb tea, so.
Can I set this down somewhere for
Yeah,
Jeremy?
yeah,
Is
you
right
can-
here okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, where do you want me?
What do you think, Jeremy? Maybe Art, you can sit there and I'll sit across from you?
Okay.
That's perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's see. What do I still want to ask you? I printed out like 100 questions. Oh, I want to ask you about mentors, inspirations. You know, if you had any particular teachers along the way, or like pivotal experiences, or anything that was like, anything that comes to mind that seems like it was really formative in your creative practice.
Okay.
Particular artists or movements or.
Yeah, well, I'm always, I was always intrigued by what I would call junk builders, or outsider artists in that sense. And so I always would do pilgrimages to try to find those places. And we lived on when we first started teaching, rented a small farm. And I think the landlord, I would call a mentor, his name was Duke Richards. And he had a metallic blue truck with Duke in Old English letters. He brought us chickens, took me to an animal auction. I bought a pony for $3. And he would, he was just a character. He didn't use furniture, he would sit on the floor. He didn't believe in eating meals, but eat constantly, you know.
He was a snacker.
Yeah. And he saved everything and built, and he was self-sufficient in that sense. And so, and he was very, and I was, teaching students, and we would do strange building projects. And so we did a project on the side of the barn of the place we were renting from him for cats to move up and down and move all around. And he was just on board with all of this stuff. And then later started converting some of his buildings using some of these same junk materials. So he was a person that was kind of taught me a lot of nature reverence. He used his combines where they would, do the beans. He had them painted. They were old, and it took him a day to grease them all up. And he didn't believe in going into debt to buy a new one. But he had the flywheels painted in half red and half yellow. And so when they would, when they were in operation, it was a beautiful kind of kinetic sculpture in that sense. So
Right.
So he was a strange influence in that sense.
Was he? And you said he was in Northfield, or
No,
what town?
this was in Fairmount, Indiana.
Oh, it was in Indiana.
Right, the home of James Dean.
And you said this project with students was cats. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Well, we built an environment for cats.
Interesting. For an architecture course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did a lot of strange things like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really playful exercise for an architecture course.
Yes.
Is that common? I've never taken an architecture class.
It can be. It's a design-build approach to it and so on. And it's, I taught a lot of courses where you would have hands-on learning, like make an environment to hold a rock and a light bulb out of 3 materials.
hit the package, it hits the wall. You have to unwrap it and see if the bulb lights all in X amount of time. Projects like that.
Yeah, with
yes.
constraints.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. I did have an influence. One instructor that I had, I really enjoyed. He gave me he decided he was a theorist and not going to practice anymore. William Widdowson. So he helped me with a teaching style. He taught a course. I met him when I was a sixth-year student, but he taught a course that was just an introduction to architecture that we would audit because it was so good. And his delivery was so good. So he influenced maybe a teaching style that I had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about this place? What about Vermont? Do you feel like that is particularly influential to you in your process?
Yes, sure. Yeah, it's close but far enough away to to urban centers and so on. And a rural existence is as I said, I don't. It's hard to separate chores and living things from making art. To me, it's all one soup in that sense. So working in the garden, working on art, cooking, it's all fixing up a place. It's all related, and it's maybe easier to do that here. I can't imagine doing it. I mean, I have lived in cities and so on. But
what do you think it is about living in a rural area that makes that kind of way of living easier?
It's a closeness to nature, and it's here it's a notion that hey, stop.
There's no weasels around to catch, so he's bored.
It's like there's a tolerance here too as well, which is really kind of good, because you never know, you might go off the road and anybody would help you. So that's an aspect of Vermont that I like.
Right.
And it's both a good and bad. It's small, and so you get to know the various players, I suppose, or folks. It's a small community, which is nice.
Do you feel like experimentation is easier here, or is it different than not to compare urban and rural, but how do you think about experimentation here in this place?
Well, I think that's I feel strongly about that, and it happens because of maybe the design build community here and the sort of willingness to experiment. Like just working on the float for 25 years, it's always changing and evolving, and so and it's kind of non-hierarchical too, which is nice. So anyway, so that's important.
The process of making the float, or just the culture in general? You mean?
I think both. I think it's both. Yeah.
The power dynamics are not as strong or explicit.
Right. Yeah. And then, like teaching at Norwich, there were just 11 of us, and sort of like a family.
In the class, you mean?
Yeah. No, 11 faculty. And
okay. It's a small department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was, and it was an island in a larger university that was quirky.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you deal with creative blocks? Do you ever get frustrated in any way, like through your creative process?
Not so much, but if there's a block, you just need a little more time. Or someone said I don't know if this works. If you just do the same thing you just did again. If I don't usually do that, but that's but maybe I do, because the collage repeats and repeats. So there's that sort of stops a blockage. But I can see that, like, at the end of a series, I'm getting tired of it, and it's coming to an end, and that's. And there are times that I've had to force maybe the last of a series out.
To force the end.
Yeah.
Force it to end.
Because I had in my mind I'm going to have X amount of. And then there are times when I'll probably get started again by just tearing out a bunch of stuff and make something without an intention. So there is that experimentation, which then leads to an intention, I guess, or a series. I'm not sure.
But you never really felt stuck about how to move forward.
No, I felt early in my life that there was never enough time to finish anything well, because there were so many tasks that had to be done in life, and so right now I don't feel that pressure. There's enough time.
Did that mean you didn't finish, or that you found new ways of working that allowed you to?
I found new ways of working.
What are those ways?
Well, as I said before, working on collage, I was making a lot of 3D stuff, and so which took a lot of time, and plus I'd have to bring in, work outside, bring it in, and so on. And then I found this way of taking my studio with me in a box. And I had these workspaces, so that was.
Were they places where you would set up, or do you mean you would just set up anywhere?
No, I had places. I had a studio place. I had a desk.
Mm-hmm.
I had, 3 desks and the desk at home, in different locations, so that was helpful, and that really got me into a different way of working as well.
Yeah, bringing your materials along with you. Are there any techniques or mediums that you would want to experiment with, that you would want to work with, that you haven't yet?
I'd like to have an assistant that would cut out pieces on a 3D printer and a CNC milling machine for me. I don't want to learn how to do it myself. But it would be nice to have that would help. I have a goal of making some books, or I have so many collages, making some, and I'm not too interested in doing the graphic design myself, which is also, that would be a learning curve for me to really do that. It wouldn't be bad, but I'm not keen on investing that much time into that. So.
Do you find that it's easy to collaborate with people here?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm fairly solitary in that sense, but yeah.
Right, yeah, just thinking about how isolated we can become.
Yeah.
Are there any, this is maybe the last question I have for you, I'm curious how you envision your work evolving in the next few years, and I think you just answered that in some specific ways, but wondering if anything else comes to mind. Your practice, or or even just your life, maybe, in the way that you said it's all soup and everything's kind of bound together.
Well, there's some choices whether I want to build some big things or not. I don't know where the painting's going to go, as it travels through there. I've just ordered some new panels and so on, so I have ideas that for the next pieces. so much of it, some of it is derived from what's going on socially and politically, that that would drive some of these, and things I've been reading, researching in that sense. So we'll keep evolving into it.
Do you mean in terms of the content of your work, or do you also mean in terms of like conceptualizing your own trajectory? It matters what's happening out in the world.
Yeah, the content of it, and and being open to see what new motifs will pull in, like their paintings with flying hand-saws.
Is that one of the latest motifs?
But it came in from some strange place, and so and volcanoes, and just things that were that will be symbols, I guess, or images that. So I'm sort of maybe wondering what's the next coffee cup, or what's the next fishing lure, or whatever it is.
What is the latest symbol? Or is that too hard to answer?
It is. It's like there's this strange stalactite thing. If you can see.
Is it the white with the pink?
Yeah.
Spots?
Yeah. Those spiny things coming down. That's a new piece. And they occurred in the big man vase, those spikes.
When are these symbols coming in for you? Are they just, like, what's your process with them? Or what's the symbols process, I suppose?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it ever dream content?
Well, there are dream contents, and they're like the flying bananas. I don't know where those come from. Well, I do know where they came from. When I did a painting in Texas called 100 Bananas, because that was a tropical environment. Texas was, and so and then we were fixing up this old farmhouse in Indiana, and I painted huge bananas on the ceiling. And it's a motif that kept repeating.
Right.
And I never tried to really figure out what it meant. And then, my son, we went on a little trip, and my son's band played on the roof of the kitchen, and the ceiling, the bananas, the plaster came down. and so that spurred then a patching of it without replastering it. So it was a wooden construct that came up and was bolted to what was existing framing there, and so on. And so that circumstance also, like I trimmed off these the flying birds, or the birds, and all those motifs. They came from that too. So there was a necessity to patch this, but it became an opportunity, and it was a way to maybe that's that folk art inspiration coming back in to just make something out of. I guess I could also, I like the idea of, I have been called this in a positive way, a bricolier, which is I think Claude Levi-Strauss says it's someone who solves the problem with anything that is at hand, and so on. And so it's a junk builder in a way, but it's a collage artist in a way, because you're like the collages. I'm making stuff from throwaway publications, but they were created with a very artistic eye and so on, the original surfaces and so on. So, but it's very low tech in that sense,
right?
And but requires just being right there with it, tangibly.
What's your I have more questions coming to me, I guess, as I hear you talk. What's your relationship then to the contemporary art world? Not that there's that it's singular, but I hear you saying a lot throughout the interview that you're drawn to the outsider style and folk art. But you also said that you've exhibited in museums and things like that.
Yeah. No. There are kinds of. I went to the last art biennale in Venice, which I thought was one of the best because the stuff from Africa was terrific, and it wasn't heavy-handed, because sometimes there's you can deal with colonialism in a heavy-handed way, and it's kind of off-putting. It becomes almost trite in that sense, and so I have a connection to contemporary art, and I'm in an art theory reading group and so on, and so but there's some really good stuff going on. Some of it is more minimal, and atmospheric, which I think I like as well. And then,
Do you consider yourself to be a contemporary artist? Like, how do you form your identity? You do?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, my paintings are narrative in that sense, and they tell an open-ended, ambiguous story that they can be viewed singularly, or they can be viewed in a collection. And you can sort of maybe see what happens. And I don't know what the complete story is either. But and so I did paint abstractly at times in my life, and the collage kind of goes in between abstraction and representation. And and I taught all kinds of courses in composition and so on, and it's I know work historically that I'm interested in. I have contemporary artists that I admire very much. So anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in painting people, or.
Oh yeah, you did say that. Why is that?
It's just been done so much. In that sense, so yeah.
Yeah, the teacups haven't been done as much.
No.
Maybe.
There is a collage series called Mythic Portraits, and when I went to, and they're like a pantheon of archetypes, which is fine because I think I'm more interested in the kind of archetypal image than the personal, in a human persona. Right.
Right. That goes with the idea of symbolism.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do any? Do you have any? I mean, do you do reading or have any exploration around? I know you said you're not interested in trying to figure out like why the symbols come.
Yeah, no, I do a lot of reading.
I mean, I know Carl Jung wrote a lot about symbolism, and there's all those theories.
I've read a lot of Jung, and all the alchemy images came from Jung or Robert Bosnick, who kind of, I think that was a big influence because Bosnick said, he categorized, that's interesting, he categorized the dream, he called them dream worlds, the Negredo, Albedo, and Urbedo, and then he listed elements that would be in each one of those, and color systems, like the Negredo was rot and blackness and crows and rats and just coffee. It just goes on, and you know, and the albedo was silver and moonlight and owls and you know, kind of water, the whole set of deep pools, and the rubedo was carrots and fire and flowers blooming and volcanoes, and it went on and on. So there was that's interesting to me, because those images also are they carry meaning to a particular atmosphere, I guess, or state of being. So yeah, so I've done reading in that respect.
What was the idea alchemically? Like, was there a transformation between the different categories?
The idea was to make out of base material, make gold. You know.
Oh, just the general idea of alchemy.
That was the general idea of alchemy. But Jung would say, well, the alchemists were really interested in psychological development, as not really trying to make gold, or the philosopher's stone, or whatever it was. And so, and those states of could that idea of going from black, white, red, and then explodes and you start again, can be a day, can be a month, it can be a lifetime. You know, it can be it's a cycle that happens in that sense. And so I try to figure out whether maybe that dark painting, that last one, that's in a little bit in the Negredo, because it's
with the crows and the coffee.
Right. And I don't know, maybe this one is the exploding one here,
right.
The rubedo, I don't know.
Right. It seems like it's about energy too.
Yeah.
Like classifying different, you know.
Yeah, that's another thing that I didn't talk about, because a lot of these vases have energy to them, like coming out, like this big painting of 5 vases. You can see. You want to go outside? Okay. I'll be right back. I just got to prop the door for this guy. Like, these are all, you know, things are coming out.
Oh, right. I noticed that.
All right, there you go. So the vase it's also got an interior and an exterior, you know, which is also symbolism in that respect.
Oh, and there's the ship by the pond.
Right.
The connections are fun.
On the windowsill.
Oh, right. Oh, that's really cool. Is it okay? So the one outside is bigger. It's that, but it's bigger.
Yeah, it's in the same.
Right, they're repeating. Oh, and I haven't seen the butterflies. Or the moths yet.
These are kind of a pair. Like in this one, I'm underground again, looking up, and the light's coming down, and the vase is wrapped in this one, all wrapped up, and it's unwrapped in the next one, and the moths are coming out, out to the sky.
But so the energy exuding from the vases, you're saying it's...
Yeah, it's life force, it's positive in that sense. Yeah, and because, well, you know, everything is alive and has a life force to it. So, yeah.
Right. Do you feel that with I noticed you have a lot of vases.
Yeah.
Up here too.
Yeah. A lot of friends that are potters too. But,
yeah, there's a lot of potters around in Vermont. Yeah. So all the objects that are symbol, or all the symbols in your work have like different energy profiles.
Yeah,
something
that's
like
an
that.
interesting way to say it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And like the cups with the lures above them, there's also an intermediate. You can see there's the cup, that flying thing between the lure, and you know that's also an aura of the cup, or it's coming out from the cup.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. That's great. Thanks, Ara. Can we end with a shot in your garden?
Sure. Yeah.
Since you said the garden's art.
Oh yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. I did a collage series called Growling Boxes in an Age of Anger. That's where the wolves came.
That one's like very psychedelic to me,
Right.
because it's it's like one of those images that
Yeah.
has like different components coming together.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them where the wolves are devouring the nature.
Mm-hmm. Last shot in
Yeah.
the garden.
Okay. Yeah. This one's history repeating. This was a volcano table with the Valkyries. During the pandemic, I YouTubed all of Wagner's operas 3 times.
While you're painting?
No, well, I was reading subtitles.
The can in that photo is really interesting because it's so detailed and like it's
Could it actually work? I don't know.
it's both of the cans because the cup's not. It's Oh, I see the can opener. Yeah, it's sort of like you have to look for a long time, which is fun because you keep discovering things. Yeah. Mm.
This is the little cat door prop.
Oh.
So.
Did you paint your broom handle?
No. It's pretty good though, isn't it?
Amazing. I never thought I could like a broom handle so
me
much.
either. It's wearing out.
It's really cool. So, okay, so the garden's over here.
Garden, we can go out to the garden.
It needs to be weeded, you said? Oh, you have some fennel?
Yeah, that's a bronze fennel.
Yeah.
A lot of flowers, a lot of weeds. These beans will, they're starting, you can just see them forming up, the scarlet runners. They're going to go all the way up to the top of those sticks. It'll be really beautiful.
What is that structure in the back? Did you make that?
That's my composter,
Oh.
which a bear
Can
knocked
we-
over.
Can we go look at the compost?
Yeah, sure. The peas are blossoming. Cool. And this is all flowers. Bee bones and
So it goes inside and then you close.
yeah, empty it that way. But a bear came and knocked it over.
It's definitely the most interesting compost I've ever seen. Yeah.
So what are your days like?
Oh, a lot of this for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm a researcher and a journalist, so a lot of like interviewing and writing. A lot of writing. I'm writing a dissertation right now.
Ah.
Trying to finish. Yeah, I'm a really unstructured person. It's hard. It's hard for me to like make routines. Yeah, but yeah, lots of writing and going on walks, riding my bike,
Nice.
and swimming right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's the best time for swimming.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the ice goes out, I start wading in. And I have a digital meat thermometer so I can test the water.
Right. Oh, so you swim when it's cold then, it sounds
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
I sort of keep a journal when I first go in. I think it was May 2nd or something.
Oh yeah, that's cold water.
I have one of her pieces.
Ah, you do?